and welcome to the second episode of Pitstop Talk. Now, today, I'm going to talk to you guys about how Pitstop Boys came to be from the moment it crossed my mind to where we're at today. So I'm going to kind of go over the whole story. We got Carter here. He's our head detailer. We got T-Flow.
Yo.
He's shop manager. Also one of the detailers. And then we have PH, our PPF expert, does a bunch of other stuff too. Guys dialed. But he's also going to be our Pit Stop Talk Jamie. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but he's going to be our version of Jamie from the Joe Rogan Experience. Someone to Google things for us and give us answers and give his 2 cents when he has something cool to say. So today I'm going to be doing a bit of the talking for sure to start, but then these guys are going to chime in. They're going to ask me questions, and I'm just going to tell you guys a story because I haven't told it in a little while. And I think it's cool that you guys know how Pit Stop Boys came to be. So let's dive right into it. So I was in the industrial roofing industry for about 7 years. Have you guys been in construction at all? Have you worked any construction jobs?
No.
No?
Not as a profession, only in my spare time.
Yeah, I have been a couple of times. I know that that's the rough job.
What'd you do?
Yeah, to do the welding things. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So like welding and like kind of like it was like buildings, or it was obviously like some
Yeah,
kind
it was a very
factor?
tall building. Yeah,
Okay, so like
yeah.
industrial welding,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
structural welding.
Yeah,
That shit's crazy.
yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of people that die doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also shout out to all the people who are doing these hard jobs, right?
Exactly.
Like, you know, it is nice in this shop. And that was one of the reasons why I made the change from roofer to thinking, okay, I got to do something else. But shout out to all you people who are, you know, in the trade and you're grinding, you're working outside, you're risking your life, you know.
Yes.
And even all the people, like all the firefighters, policemen, people, like all those jobs, shout out to you guys because we would not have anything without you guys, right?
Exactly.
Anyway, so I was in the industrial roofing industry for about, 6 years. And PH, like you said, it's just a grind, right? There's decent money. And, I didn't mind it, but I didn't want to do it for the rest of my life. Number one, the people that you're surrounded by as a young man wasn't necessarily I didn't have the best, what do you call it? I didn't have the best, thank you.
Role model.
Thank you, Carter. I didn't have the best role models, you could say, in that job. And it was just grinding nonstop. So I was a roofer during the day, I did fire watch at night. So I was working about from 6 a.m. till about 9 or 10 p.m. every night. So I was working crazy hours. So like in that sense, it was good, but it was just not a way I wanted to continue living. So at one point I said, you know what, screw this. And so I decided to quit, and I went to business school. So I went to Algonquin College at the time, and I took their business management and entrepreneurship program. You went to Algonquin, right?
Yeah,
What did you
actually,
take?
the same exact course. Actually,
Pretty sick, dude. And how did you like it?
I loved it, man.
Yeah. You learn a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you learn a lot of stuff. What did you take?
Hmm?
What did you take in school?
I took business management and accounting.
No way.
No way.
Yeah.
Businessman.
Hey, did you?
No,
Ah.
I have a hands-on experience on business. Yeah. And my degrees in college is related to mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
But I have your support, guys. 3 business.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no. So PH had a very great, awesome business in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
In Dubai.
Exactly.
It was called PH Performance.
Yeah.
And you did all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did you guys do?
A lot of things. Some of them was the exact work that we do here.
Yep.
Like the detailing stuff, paint PPF stuff,
Yep.
or tint stuff, wrap. And some of them was the custom exhaust, like the custom exhaust.
Yep.
Or doing the carbon fiber parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at one point you were talking to us about how you actually developed a product for What is it for the exhaust for the switch?
Yeah, we developed an exhaust system which is called Zenith exhaust, and we were selling those to some of the shop that's do the custom exhaust.
Cool.
They weld the exhaust by their hands. I mean,
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So if someone was building a custom exhaust and they wanted to have that switch,
yeah, exactly.
they were getting it off you.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
designed it and developed it. It's pretty impressive. Because you showed me the website and like it looks very it's just impressive. So
Yeah, thank you, man.
sick. So what I'm getting to is he didn't go to Algonquin College for business, but he's been through the ringer. So it's more experience trumps everything, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But yeah, so that being said, I was like, I don't want to be a roofer anymore.
Yeah,
I want to do something else in my life. Now, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I just said, I got to get out of there. So I decided to jump into the program. And I realized real quick, I need to make some money. I'm going to school full time, but I got to make some money. So at the time, excuse me,
Coffee break.
my throat's mangled. Oh, at the time, I needed to make a bit of money. And I was like, what can I do? Now, it just so happens, obviously, I grew up riding dirt bikes. I grew up, with a little bit of a need for speed. I've always loved going fast, whether it was on my bike, I was riding down mountains and jumping off things, getting extremely hurt. I've always had that bug in me. I think like we've all had that. Like you probably had that
Oh yeah, for sure.
growing up. Do you remember your first instant of you being like you sent it a little too hard? Maybe off a bike or you're just blading around?
I'm not sure. It was definitely an ATV or a bike. I have a bunch at the cottage, so
Yeah.
just ripped them
Yeah.
through the trails and stuff.
Yeah.
Love it.
So yeah, you grew up with that stuff. You guys probably same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More like bicycles though.
Bicycles.
I was trying to do like BMX growing up, but my mom didn't want me to do it.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah. And PHU too, right? You grew up with that stuff. You must have.
Um, it's unexpected, but my family has not any interested in cars, bike, and those stuff, and I
Oh,
was
really?
suffering when I was child. Yeah, because I was at the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
But it somehow naturally came to you, something you were drawn to, right?
When I was 13 years old, we
Yeah.
went to the Germany, and I was in a BMW company. I was in lots of track races with a bunch of friends who were older than me,
Okay.
and yeah, they persuade me to
To get into that scene
yeah,
and
exactly,
lifestyle.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
exactly,
Awesome.
and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, same with me. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I grew up
Yeah.
it was on a bicycle, like you do, just ripping around. I remember we had this, I lived in Embrun. I grew up in Embrun, Ontario. I was born in Sudbury, family moved. And so I was in Embrun, Ontario. There's a church in Embrun. I'm sure if you guys know what I'm talking about, if you know the area. And there's this staircase. And I used to try to jump my bike off that staircase. Now, I was very respectful. And I said, thank you after I do a trick. Thank you, Lord, for letting me perform here. We weren't doing it on church day. Anyways, just so you guys don't think I'm evil. But I remember that staircase, we would try to jump it, and we got hurt so many times. So many times, but for some reason, it was something we always went back to. It was ridiculous. But that being said, I always grew up with that kind of bug of like a little danger, going fast, dirt bikes, and all this stuff. So when I was in college and I was trying to think of ways to make money while like maintaining my full-time school schedule and then having something I can do that is on my own time frame, right? I wasn't sure. I was definitely thinking of something where I go to people's houses and do something. And then I was reading a book, actually. One of the first books ever that I ever read in my life, because I was like in college and I was like, I got to start reading. And it was talking about a business that was a mobile mechanic. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So I was like, how could I get started in something right away? I'm not a mechanic. I'm pretty savvy with that stuff to a certain degree, but how could I dive right into it? So I thought I'm going to start Pitstop boys. So at the time, I didn't have the name, but I was like, I'm going to start a mobile detailing business with my truck. I just had a truck. So at that point, I said, okay, done. So I went to Canadian Tire. I bought the cheapest vacuum you could get. I bought a pack of microfiber towels. You know the tiny ones you get from Canadian Tire? They're like 3 by 3 inches, it feels like. You can barely cover your hand. I bought that. And then I bought some, I think it was turtle wax soap and some other really cheap, whatever was on sale. Basically, it was kind of funny. Like if any of our clients saw me back then, they would say, "What the heck are you doing, bud?" You know. Yeah. But I was just, I had some know-how and I knew what not to do, and I started researching like crazy, and I started diving into it. But I knew the basics, that I can complete a basic in and out detail without damaging a vehicle. What maybe not be perfect, but I was like, I have enough knowledge to do that. So that's what I started with. So I started going to friends and family, and I was telling them, hey, I'm doing this new business. I'm going to be driving to people's houses and doing detail work right in their driveway. And for that first year, it did I was by myself. I was, doing what I could. I was booking everything, and it was pretty slow to start, but, friends and family were helping out. They were getting, people involved, and neighbors were seeing me. So I'd be in the driveway, right? And I'd be like working. And then of course everyone would be like, hey, you want to wash mine next? The classic. And you'd be like, I'm kind of busy here, but yeah, I will, because I need every freaking penny I can get, right? So from there, it took off. And the next year, my second year in the business program, I decided, okay, I had some customers. They were calling me back. You did mobile detailing for a while, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And so some of the struggles with it.
Oh, yeah.
So just list a couple off the top of your head. When say you're working alone and you're detailing a car in the elements, what are some things you're kind of like fighting against?
First of all, the weather,
the
rain,
the
the
baby.
sun, the wind. It's so bad. The
Yeah.
amount of clients you have to say, hey, can we push back 2 or 3 hours? It says the rain's going to stop at 11.
Yeah.
It never stops at 11.
Yeah.
Or you say, oh, hey, can we do it on Friday instead of today? A lot
You
of
know what?
weekends and stuff like that, because you have to free up space, because you can't polish a car when it's raining.
No. So what's funny? He mentions that was happening. So I was booking my schedule. The second year I was in college, I had asked one of my classmates to work for me. Ryan, shout out Ryan. He was a big lad, played football. The guy could barely fit in a car. He was like, I don't know, Ryan, how tall you are, how heavy you were, man, but you were a unit. Super nice guy. But this guy I would not mess with. He was huge, and it was so funny to see him getting in these little cars and cleaning cars. But anyways, we ran into that issue with booking. We'd get to the house and it would start raining. We have to reschedule on this. And most people in their right mind would say, well, just reschedule. It is what it is. I decided, no, I'm going to buy a pop-up gazebo with walls. So if there is a rainstorm, we're going to continue working. Now, there was a couple sketchy moments, with that being said, because I bought that gazebo. It was like the pop-up tent. It was like 10 by 20, so it was big enough. And I'd go to job sites and I'd set this up basically by myself. Ryan would help me sometimes, and then he would help me a lot after he was full time with me. But at first, I was doing it alone, and there were so many times I was working in like even the clients would be like, what are you doing? Like, just reschedule. I'll be like, no, we're setting this up and we're getting this done. So we'd be working. It would be like the freaking the walls and the thing would be shaking. The whole thing would be going crazy everywhere. I remember there was several times where it was so bad that I would literally grab corners and put all the weights off one corner on one and hold the other one so it wouldn't fly away. And there was one time I just got to a customer's house. I set it up and it was a same storm kind of situation. No, it didn't happen very often, but there was one time where the whole thing was lifting off the ground. It was to a point where it was either going to hit the car, I couldn't have it. So I had to decide to either hold it or do a Hail Mary toss and throw one corner and to see if I can just clear the car where it flipped completely. I did. It was a miracle. The neighbor came out, the guy who I was cleaning his car, he was watching me in his house window. And he comes out and he's like, so, yeah, you're going to just come back after that, right? And I said no because I showed him on the radar the weather was going to clear up. He thought I was crazy. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is that I never, like, I didn't want to take no as an answer, you know? Oh, I almost get a little emotional talking about this because it's like, it was such a experience. It was such a buildup of stuff. And like, I never said no. Like, fuck. Why am I getting emotional?
It's because you come a long way.
Yeah. Holy shit, man. I need a minute here. Whew. Anyway, so it's been crazy. So yeah, second year I had Ryan, you know, I was just like, I am sending it with this thing. We got clients. It was great. I hired a second guy from my from one of my classes actually. So that was great. I had two guys working for me. It was going good. We were booking details. Everyone was interested in it. And as I was in business school, what I was doing was we had a group of people building a business plan. So that was our final project, was to build a business plan. You had to do that too, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you asked me for some stuff. This guy's taking my whole project and just basically using it. I would have done the same though if I knew somebody, honestly. So that was kind of smart. Good call, using your resources. But at that point, I had about 6 students at Algonquin College building me a business plan for free because it was for their grades. So I got really lucky and I took advantage of that situation. And I don't know why I'm so emotional right now. But yeah, I took advantage of it, like in a sense where like I didn't feel guilty because they were getting good grades and they had a real business that they can like actually work off of, and like they were excited to do this business plan for someone they knew, right? But the business plan was like really well done. We did like all this market research. We like did all the numbers. We had figured it all out. And at the time, I was making the business to just be a mobile business.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't ever think I'd have like a location or all this shit basically, right? With like all you guys and whatever. I thought maybe I would do Pitstop Boys.
So yeah, what year was this? What year did all this happen that you scaled up?
So I started Pitstop Boys in 2017. So I would say by the 2018 is when like I had the team and like we were like had the business program, the business plan, and like we just put everything into action. And then the third year was when it really took off. Was when, you know, I was like educating myself. I was going to all these courses. I was going to Toronto, Montreal. I was like meeting with all these detailers that were like in the area. Shout out to Upper Class Detailing, Vlad. He's an OG in Ottawa. But basically I was reaching out to everyone to, you know, try to get as much knowledge as I could. And that's when we got into ceramic coatings and paint corrections and all this stuff. So I started doing all this stuff in people's driveways with those little pop-up tent. And like, you know, it was cool and it was great. But then I realized, you know, I'm getting to a point where now we were only doing these fancy cars because I kind of got this niche market of, you know, people wanted their nice cars done in their driveway, but then all these services that we could have offered was making it really hard for me to do like at a remote location. Mm-hmm. And it was really like, I'd have to like, there's a lot of stuff we couldn't do, like polishing a full car and ceramic coating a car outside, even though you're in like a pop-up tent, you know, like the temperature is out of control, you know, so we do a ceramic coating, it would fly, like, you know, like your flash time would be like seconds, right?
Yeah.
Or it would be too damp out. There would be too much moisture in there. It would take forever. It would ruin everything. So there's all these things coming into play. And then at that point, I had a lot of clients asking me, well, what's next for Pitstop Boys? Mm-hmm. You know?
What was next for Pitstop Boys?
What was next was that I was like, well, I need to get into a commercial space or some kind of space that we can do these high-end cars with the paint correction, ceramic coating, and all this stuff in a controlled environment. So I knew I needed a location. Mm-hmm. And I had several of my clients, I think, see the potential in Pitstop Boys. Anyway, so I think a lot of my clients saw the potential in Pitstop Boys, and I had several people say like they'd be happy to invest in it, and they wanted to kind of help me bring this to the next level. So at that point, I decided Yes.
More coffee.
I need coffee. At that point, I decided, like, let's do this. So I got an investor on board, and I started basically hammering down and finding locations. It was funny because we found a location near the airport, and we were so close to making an offer. And it was my first like big like business like lesson was like pay attention to the fine details, which seems obvious, but a lot of people don't. Even to this day, it's like a challenge. Like, all of us, like, it's like something that like life is busy and crazy. Sometimes you miss things. Anyways, very close to putting an offer on this building near the airport. And one of the last things I checked was the zoning for it because I just assumed, oh, it's like a garage for sure. You can have a detail shop. Nope. Like you could have had a full-on mechanic shop, but for some reason the zoning for a detail shop was like you weren't allowed.
Like what wasn't allowed? Like the pipes and stuff?
I guess like maybe as the pipes or maybe because the products you're using or whatever. I just know like the detailing was one of the only things you could not have there. So I was like, I had to call my investor at the time, my real estate agent. I was like, guys, pause everything because we literally cannot operate. And then they were like, whoa, like I doubt it. And then sure enough, we double checked. I called the city, talked to several people, and they were like, yep, no, like you can't operate. So we could have bought the place, put money into it, and then before opening, so when you have the city come and inspect everything, they could have been like, no, dude.
I don't know what to think, but thinking doesn't usually get me anywhere anyway, so maybe I shouldn't do it.
So it's a good thing I checked last minute, And anyways, and that's what brought us over to this location here off Belgreen because it was zoned for heavy industrial use, which is basically you can do anything, right? So it's kind of like we're in a random location. Hey, guys, like we're kind of like in this little industrial park. We're not like off a main road or anything, but the zoning was so hard at the time to find a place. Your dad's a real estate agent, Does he does more like residential than commercial? Yeah. But I'm sure your dad knows too, like, it's like it's so hard to find spaces. And I mean, we're a detail shop. It's not like you have a ton of money. So you're trying to find a smaller place, but it's so hard to find. So anyways, so we found this place, put an offer in, got the place, permits, everything is checking out. At this time, I had graduated from Algonquin College. I had also I did their, it's basically like Dragon's Den, but it's called Wolf's Den. So I did that with Pitstop boys. I won the whole competition. It was sick. I felt like a superstar. So I had validation that the business was a good idea and it made sense. I had a team with me, guys that were working with me. So it was great. So everything was going in the right direction. Got the place. Got the keys, was in this place for about a week. So this place looked crazy, and I'll pop up pictures to show you guys like what it used to look like because you saw pictures, eh? Yeah. You guys ever see pictures? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
It was rough, man. So it was windows and doors, whatever. So it needed a lot of work for me to even get started working. I kind of started working, anyways, but because I was like, we got to get her going. But the second week we got the keys, COVID hit.
Damn.
Yeah. So all of the construction got delayed. Everything. So basically we had invested all this money, right, into Pitstop boys. We had all the permits applied. This place from the ground up was built out, spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And 2 weeks after getting the keys, COVID hits, shut down. We couldn't do anything with our permits. We couldn't do anything. So COVID, it affected so many people, but it was just for Pitstop boys. If we're just talking about Pitstop boys, it was devastating for us because we had just spent all this money, right? And everything was at a standstill for seemed like almost 2 years, right? And then even after when we opened, it was like we finally got things rolling and opened up, but no one wanted to come out. No one wanted to do anything. So it was actually pretty it was tough to make it through that for sure. I'm surprised we made it out, But
did you keep up with your mobile? Like when did you stop doing mobile? When did you stop offering mobile?
So I stopped offering mobile the moment I got the keys to this place. Now that being said, we had good clients that were like, "No, I need you to come." So I would go.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had dropped. I had to drop the two guys that I had working from me from college because we had put so much money into this place. and we were making the transition and COVID, so we didn't have work coming in.
Mhm.
So I had to kind of, they went on and did their own thing, and I was like, I gotta keep the ball around. So I was doing everything on my own. So I would like want to be here, because if there was no one here, there was no one here.
Yeah.
So like it would have to plan it. So if I was going somewhere, this would be closed. We put a sign out in front, and it was like that for a while, But yeah. So then COVID goes through. We got our construction done. We start building the brand. It's actually funny because there was a moment where we had a lot of good clients, and one. So Tan, everyone knows her Tan, right? He's got the red Lamborghini.
Yeah.
So that guy showed up to the shop one day, super random. I guess he heard about it or maybe saw it on Instagram, because we were posting some stuff at the time, not a lot. Myself, right? It was just basically myself, and my dad was here helping a lot too. My dad was here every day. Thanks, Dad. Love you.
Real one.
Yep.
Did you pay your dad?
Absolutely not. Didn't pay my dad a thing. So yeah. We drank a few beers though. Hey, remember that? But anyways, after the work was done, of course, we had a good time. But wait, where was I at?
Good question. Tan. He
Tan.
came here.
So yeah. So Tan shows up one day and introduces himself. He gets a car wash. I wash his car, and then he says, "Hey, this weekend I'd like to bring a couple people by to show off your shop." I say, "No problem." So that was the first time that that weekend I was so nervous. I was here alone, man. He told me a couple of his friends were coming, so I'm expecting there to be like 2 or 3 guys come with him, right? Dude, I look outside. I hear his car come in. I look outside. There's like 20, 30 cars that pull up, okay?
So he brought a car meet to you.
He brought a car meet to Pitstop, boys, okay? And that was huge for me. Like, I'm forever thankful for that. Because that really like kicked us off. There was a lot of detail shops. No one really knew about us. I was by myself trying to do everything. He brought all these people here. They all lined it up in the back. And I got introduced to everyone. And, that really kicked off Pitstop Boys to a certain degree. We already had a ton of clients, right? Because we did mobile for a long time. But I think that was like our first introduction into like this like deeper car scene, which was then, these guys then eventually made VE, and there's all these different car groups now, whatever, right? But, that was pretty cool that kind of helped kick it off. And, from that day on, I was just like, okay, like this is awesome. I love this stuff. I'm going to like do whatever I can to try to be the best, And I was like, I just was like, I'm not gonna be the best, but I have to just keep grinding, And for me, waking up early, showing up, it's normal. I've been doing that my whole life. So like putting in the time and working hard was not the hard part for me. It was like figuring everything else out, business wise. Cars were coming in, like you got your first Lambo in the shop, and I'm pretending like I know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I'm like I remember I get in the car, I'm trying to figure out how to put this thing into drive, right? I think it was Tan's Lambo, or maybe it was another, but anyways, and I'm sitting there, it's in neutral, but when you get into the Lambo, right, you have to hit the shadow,
right?
the shadow.
The shadow. Shadow.
You have to hit the paddle to put in the drive, but at the time I didn't know that. It was my first time in a Lamborghini. I obviously was passionate about cars. I love them, but it was couldn't believe it. I was kind of like also geeking out, and he's like, yeah, you got to just hit the paddle. And I was like,
I knew that.
I was like, oh, yeah. That's how it is on one of these models, eh? Sorry, I'm used to the good ones. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so, it was basically, it's been a learning experience. And, I've learned so much, and I've kind of like dove headfirst into it. And I took it really seriously. Like I did. Like, it was actually like, sometimes it was like, debilitating. Like I would get like, I'd do a car and a customer would say like one thing about the job that I did, and like I literally like couldn't sleep for like a week. It would like bug me, and like I would be like, I gotta fix this problem. And as time goes on, you realize there's limitations to certain things, and like that's just part of running a business. But let's just say I got pretty dialed with certain things, and like to this day, like all of us, I think we all are in that same kind of situation where we're like, we know we're good, but we're gonna keep getting better every day. There's always new stuff, new technology, new techniques that like we all bring to the table, and we're good. I think we're all good at that. Hey, like I think we're good at like sharing what works and what doesn't work. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
And Tristan, would you please tell us about your cars too since then?
Oh yeah, I can talk about the cars, and then we'll pick up from there after. So my first car was a Mazda 3 2.5.
Yeah.
It was white, and I had white 18-inch rims on it, and I delivered pizzas in it. And I remembered I delivered the pizzas like so fast. So my it was River Pizza in Orleans, actually. George, he was the owner, and he liked me a lot. Great guy, because I'd get the pizzas there pretty fast, right? But it would happen so often that he'd get a call, and the guy would say, "Hey, my pizza came here in record time, but the cheese is totally slid off the pizza."
You were cutting the corners.
I was, buddy, I was in the winter too, drifting every corner, going like, fast. So it was fun, but I got a lot of complaints. So then what George started telling me is, when you get to the house, open up the pizza and make sure the cheese isn't sliding off the pizza anyway. So that was my first car, Mazda 3. And then I had a Chevy Silverado single cab, like just a plain Jane kind of like work truck. And then in high school, me and my buddy Jay, we bought an old 1980s GMC truck. It was like a manual truck. And we ripped that around for a while because we thought we were country boys. Because I went to high school in Russell. So that was kind of fun. And then I got then I started the roofing. So I was driving trucks. So I drove like Ram. So I had like a 2012 Ram, and then I got a 2014, and then I got a 2018 Ram. And then I had actually a 2019 when they switched the body styles. I would just trade them in every year basically. And then I have the 2500 for pulling the cars. Oh, I also had, which I forgot about, I had one of my favorite cars was I had a GTI, 2004 GTI. Oh, it was like slammed, cambered out. You could like barely stick your fingertips under that front lip. It was so stupid. Couldn't drive it anywhere. The rims on it were the rims I had on it, I think they're worth about 10-15 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
We should bring them out and like do something with them. But the rims are worth like triple the amount of the car. It's so stupid. But I loved it. Great car, sounded great. It was a fun car. But I actually sold the car when we were building this place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The rims are the brand of the rims are Work.
Yeah, so they're
Japanese.
They're authentic
yeah.
Japanese work rims. Like there's Japanese writing.
Three
in them.
pieces.
3 pieces. Like the lip is like nasty, staggered, all that stuff. Really cool. But yeah, that's a bit of my car history. And then I've always been into like dirt bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But yeah. So let's get back on topic with the story here. So yeah, so then, we got to that, did school, built it up, won the competitions, thing was going, we had the thing, COVID was over, we had started having people come through the shop. And what happened was, after about 2 years, I started to experience a bit of burnout because I was doing everything on my own and I was hitting like a plateau. So I decided I need to build a team, and I started looking into hiring people and trying people out. Now, it's like it takes a long time to find a good team, and I got to say, like, it's taken me, I don't know, 3-4 years to have a team like we have today. Like that's like trial and error, and you get to see people's like true grit, and like it's like it's like anything. It's like there's that honeymoon phase with any job, with any relationship, where people give it their all at the beginning, but when you go through the real shit,
How long do you think that is?
Honestly, like a honeymoon phase can last up to a year.
Mm.
It really can. Some people it's less. But I think like by a year, you ideally get to see people's flaws. We all have flaws. We all have things, but it's like after that year, you see things and you have to make adjustments, and that's something that I've always struggled with because like I'm a people person, and I like sometimes I'd put people first before my own business and myself. You know what I mean? And ultimately, that's like a detriment to any business, because if you're not putting yourself first, business isn't going to come first. So how are you going to get to that next level, right? If you don't have the proper people with you. So that being said, that's brought us to where we're at today. You know, we have an amazing team, right? All you guys, the shop is doing well. We're still every day trying to find ways to get business sitting here to make the experience better for you guys. We're always trying to see what we can do. We're always making adjustments. That's where, like, some people say, like, you know, I'm a little bit like ridiculous sometimes, you know, like there's always something new I want to do. And, you know, it's like, it's hard to sometimes control that. Like I'm so all over the place sometimes, but like, I know ultimately what my end goal is. And so like, that kind of fuels me, you know?
Mhm.
It's hard to explain.
So I was gonna ask. So you said you felt burnout.
Yeah.
So that's like what, 2022 maybe, sometime
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
So then, how did you take a step back from the business while also making sure you're on an upward trajectory of, like, you know, always expanding, always growing?
Yeah. I mean,
How did you? Because I guess, like, maybe you got older, maybe because you had you had dogs in a house and
Yeah.
everything. How did you balance your work-life balance? Because I guess it was just work, kind of.
yeah.
What'd you do?
I don't like, there wasn't much of a balance, right?
Mm.
Like, I think I'm getting that's like, it's like now I'm getting better at that. I have a good team. I have you guys. So like, I can sometimes take a second to be like, okay, you know, and I think like it wasn't for like years and years. It was nonstop, you know, you go home at night. It's all you're thinking about, you know,
Yeah.
you wake up, you're stressing, it's nonstop, you're working. And even like now with the team, with the boys, like it's like, as much as now we have a great team, it's even more pressure because we have to continue growing. There's like, you build a team, there's more expenses, you got to get more work in. It's like, you know, like, so I don't know if it's ever gonna, like, I think there's still, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it's like I'll experience burnout still sometimes to this day. And you guys probably see it sometimes, you know? But I try not to let it affect, you know, the shop. And I always like try to grind. And I just know that like, it's not, I signed up for this, you know, a long time ago. And it's like,
Got to see it through.
I'm fucking in it, man. Like I am. Yeah. I don't want, this is a heavy one.
I can already picture the thumbnail, the title for this.
Just me like,
Tristan gets emotional.
no, but yeah, no, it's definitely like, it's like anything. Like, you know, everyone sees like the happy side of things, and we post all the crazy cool stuff in the cars and this and that, and like, you know, it's sick. Like, this is a passion of mine. That's why like I'm fucking so passionate, you know, and you know, the burnout is something that I think I'm still struggling with a little bit, and we have a great team, so it's getting better. And like, you know, I just have that dog in me, man.
Oh yeah.
And a little sad dog, maybe a little puppy right now, but because we're talking about all this, but I have that. I just feel like, you know, it's I just can't take no for an answer. And you know, like, that's just kind of like one of these things that, you know, I'm not perfect at all. No one is. There's a lot of things I don't know. There's a lot of questions I don't have the answers to, but I'm always going to try my best, you know? And like, sometimes we're humans, we all like get tired, you know, we experience burnout. Sometimes you have to sleep in or whatever. Like, I'm up at like 3:30 every day, you know? It's like, over time, sometimes you have to like be like, okay, I need to take care of myself, and like, that way I can put the best foot forward for Pitstop boys. And that's something as a business owner is hard. You forget often, you know, you try to remind yourself, but usually you end up thinking about everyone else before yourself. And then if that continues to happen, you experience burnout, right? And that's like where you're like, I need to kind of take care of myself for a second here. So I've been like the last 2 years, because we've built a great team. It's like allowing me to mix some of those times in for myself, and it's kind of recharging my battery. You know, I'm getting a little bit more like, I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, like it's funner to come to work when you have a great team and you all like spitting off ideas and all of this stuff like that. So that's like, you know, that's like, yeah, I'm very thankful for you guys. We have like the sickest team.
Yeah.
You know, we got Carter. Like, why don't we run through? Like, I've been talking for a little while because, you know, it's a bit of a story about how, you know, I started and where we're at now. But now we're at the point in the story where we're here where we are today. We're doing great. We're thankful for our clients. We have a sick team. Let's go through the boys here and I want to hear what your position is here. Maybe tell a little bit of history of why you like, you know, the car scene, and, you know, why you like working here and why maybe you don't like working here. You know, whatever. Like, there's days we have cars where it's so stressful. You know, it's not all fun and games sometimes. Carter? Like, this guy's cleaning cars. It's like the nastiest stuff you'll ever see. I've been through. I did it for years, you know, and I still sometimes a little bit, but not as much anymore. But, you know, it's like there's times and stuff that, like, it's super awesome and we love it. It's a passion. And there's times it's crazy. It's like any job you go to, but I think it's because it's a passion why we stick to it. But yeah, why don't you just start first, buddy, and just tell them who you are,
All right.
what your position is here, what you do here, and a little bit about yourself.
All right. I'm Carter. I'm the head detailer here at Pitstop Boys. Do all the washes pretty much. Decons, everything. So yeah, I started working here about 3 years ago in co-op.
Yeah, man. That's so true.
I was in school. I pretty much just got my A3, and my dad told me about this detailing shop and showed me the Instagram, just showed me about it. Looked super cool. So
Shout out Steve.
yeah, we got my car in here, posted it on the Instagram, the Pitstop Boy story. I saw it, I loved it. I was like, that's my car. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how it worked out, but I think I got in contact with you and asked if
Yeah, I had to talk to your teacher.
yeah.
Yeah. Remember that guy? He was all right.
Yeah, I came to the shop, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a co-op position here, started working here, learning about it. I didn't know anything about detailing really. I didn't work anything, so I basically learned here from Steph, his dad, and you.
Yeah.
Both of them just helping me out. We're all working together as a team, and of course I was 17 at the time, so
I forgot that sometimes.
I was still in high school, so I had to do that. So I could only work I worked for I think 4 or 5 months in school, and then summer came, so I worked all summer, and then had to go to the college, business management and entrepreneurship. So I had to leave, but as soon as summer came, as soon as I was off, came right back and knew I had to. I love it here. And same again, I had to go back to school, but then came right back because I love it here. Just the cars, everything.
Yeah.
Just, it's a huge passion every day. Seeing new cars, I love seeing it.
Yeah. And like we said, like, you know, like the see that, like, it's like take away the good stuff, you know, and that's why we all do it. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so true. I forgot that you came here for co-op, and your dad was like, "Hey, like, you know, it'll be cool if my son can do his co-op here."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And yeah, and it's just funny because there's, like you said, you're 17, and there's so many times that I forgot you were like a 17-year-old kid in high school, and I said some crazy stuff in front of him.
Yeah.
So, but he turned out okay. So mostly because his parents and his family are really good people. But yeah. Anyways, awesome, man. T-Flow,
What up?
go for it, buddy.
So I was born in February 1st, 2000, in Montreal. Anyway, so like just how I started, how I came to be in the
Yeah, just
detailing.
yeah.
So I think it was 2018. My dad got a new car. It was a GLK. It was a Mercedes,
Nice.
Carl Benz. And what I noticed was like the silver alloy rims just kept getting super dirty with brake dust and stuff like that. I was like, that's ugly.
Yep.
I want it to be clean. So I YouTubed how to clean the tires. And then they were like, okay, well, first step in like a full car wash is you clean the wheels. And I'm like, okay, but I clean the wheels. So I clean the wheels, but then the car is dirty. So I was like, okay, let me finish the video, learn how to clean a full car. And it was super fun, learned the 2-bucket method and everything. So cleaning cars and detailing came out of like just like a necessity to keep the car clean.
Yeah.
But I learned that like, you can clean a car, but it's important to clean a car and make sure like, you don't mess up the paint. I got into like, learning how to maintain your paint, not swirl your car up, ceramic coatings, paint protection. So I joined this one guy on Indeed, like for his company. And I did that on and off, fluctuating between school and stuff like that. Then I started working with another guy. He was my first coworker. We did detailing all summers. It's all mental. In the heat, put the tarp on.
Yeah.
Around the weather, we driving out to Kempville, Carlton Place, Bishop Mills.
Yeah,
Mississippi
mobile
Mills.
detailing is a grind.
Takes you everywhere.
So shout out to all the mobile detailers.
Yeah, but yeah, I learned a lot because then I learned, how to be quick, and like how to multitask, and like because my boss at the time trusted me to kind of deal with the clients because like, he'd go overseas for like his own personal job or whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of learned how to manage myself and my coworker and like be in a team dynamic because he was a bit older than me.
Yeah.
I was 18, 19 years old. So like I learned how to work on the business with a partner. But then, season came and then he went off and joined Pitstop Boys.
Yeah.
And then I just went back to school.
Yeah.
And then school was over and I was looking for a job. And then he was like, hey, have you found a job? And I was like, no, I haven't. He's like, okay, come on. I think it was a Wednesday or something. He's like, come. So I came here and I was like, where the hell am I? I was like, hey, am I at the front entrance? He's like, yeah, just come in. So I came in. I saw Tristan.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hi, my name is Surindu. And like I shook his hand. We talked for like 5 minutes about detailing. I was like, okay, come back on Monday at like 8:30 a.m. And I've been here since.
Yeah, dude.
I've been here since. I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know. I don't think he ever told me, he's like, okay, you're on the team. It's been like a year and a half now.
Yeah, I never officially hired him.
We did the paperwork.
Yeah. It's official, but
I never know when I might be out the door.
yeah,
But
no.
I mean, since my role here has just kind of been weird.
Yeah. Well, I think like
Did everything.
I think that like T-Flow came in and like, he's one of those guys that just does his shit. It's like he shows up every day, shows up on time. He just gets it done, and like that is super valuable. It's like he's very consistent. And so like he kind of like floated under the radar for a while. I think it's what he thought maybe, because he just showed up and did his thing. But like the whole time, like I was like I had eyes on this guy, and I'm like he's good, he's solid, and I knew you deserved a chance because you had started right, and you were probably lowest on the totem pole here, despite your knowledge. It's just how it works sometimes when you enter into a new workplace, right? But that being said, like there's a reason why he's here and he's awesome. All the clients love you, bro. Like you're really dialed and like you're super consistent. You're a hard worker. I love having you on the team. So it's like a no-brainer to keep you here on board and to like give you some of these responsibilities that like I need help with, I think you're really good at what you do. So it's a no-brainer and you fit really well with the team. Like you said, like you're dialed and you're because how old are you? You're
22.
He's 22.
I think.
You're 22 years old. It's crazy. Like if I like even now every time he says how old he is, I'm like, that's not true. That's a lie, bro. show me your ID, because you act so much more mature than you are. So that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're
I think it fits well because like last year was fun. Last year, like last summer was fun. I think we all got lucky between like the four of us. It was five. Like we even though like things get like kind of rough, things get tense. Like someone didn't clean this, who didn't clean that. We didn't do good enough job on this car, whatever. We always like bounce back, and I think like overall we have a good chemistry between the four of us, between like all the other guys that have been here.
Yeah, for sure.
We're all like very understanding and stuff, and I think it's a team effort to keep it going.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Just
And
the reality of things, right?
Yeah, and it's I think it's definitely more beneficial to all of us that it's like you at the top of the pyramid, like because you've been from the ground up, and it's good that you have PH who's got the experience, you've got me who's done the work, you've got Carter who's been here since the beginning.
Yeah.
All three of those kind of combined together to make a really good team.
Yeah.
Plus you who's like kind of our friend, our coworker, and our employer all in one.
Yeah.
And
it's like a tough balance,
Yeah.
It's
But it
very
works.
tough.
It works.
It works.
Like we're just very
Yeah, like we're all
I don't even know if it's chemistry, but like it's a puzzle that works and it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's something that like you said, it's just like naturally has fallen into this place, and every single one of us brings something very important to the team.
Mm-hmm. And
so
I think also like we also overlap a lot.
right.
So then whenever one of us needs help, like there's at least one or two of us that have the capabilities to assist.
Yeah, we're all definitely like
Same but different.
Yeah, I think it's so true that like we're very much a team. Where like I find in other businesses and places, sometimes people like won't want to talk to other departments, and like sometimes stuff gets crazy here too when it's busy and everyone's doing their own thing. But ultimately, I think we do want us to be all on the same page, right? And I think that's like we ultimately care for each other in the sense of like we want to have a good end result for our clients. We want stuff to come out as good as possible, and sometimes that that's just good teamwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, no, you're dialed, bro. You're the man. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And even the way you've been stepping up has been great. And like, can't say more enough about Carter. Same thing, right? Like you're a beauty, dude. Like been here since the beginning. So let's pass over the torch to PH, because PH has been a great addition to Pitstop Boys as well. So let's hear about how you started and what's your role, and
Start at the beginning.
Yeah, first of all, I didn't use the computer today at all.
Yeah,
I was pretending to search something or
So we're gonna have the computer here for future episodes, so that if we have anything we want to look up, or if I want to be like, yo, Jamie, pull this up, he's gonna do that. But today we were just kind of sharing you guys like the story of Pitstop Boys and these guys' stories. So anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so if I want to start from the beginning, I start after graduation at the university. I started to do the designing for the tuning company,
Okay.
and I went to Dubai after that, and I worked a couple of years for a huge company which was modifying Lamborghinis, Ferrari, those kind of car. And I have
No big deal.
Yeah, and I have the same memory as you. One day, one of the customer came in and asked me, "Hey, man, can you drive my car?" And he came with his Ferrari, and the car that we have been working, it was a Lamborghini
Yeah.
Gallardo. So I jump into the car, but there was all the bottom. There was not any kind of shaft or gear that you can
Put it into drive.
Put it into the drive. Yeah, but I figured it out eventually. Yeah. So yeah, after a couple of years experience in Dubai, I came back into my own country, which is Iran, and I started my own business there. I just was selling parts, and I was dealership of the few companies there. and after that I start to grow the business, make it. I remember I opened a garage, which was half of this place,
Yeah.
and yeah, I started a couple of business that I explained for you guys before.
Yeah.
And after that, COVID hits. Yeah, that was a rough time for us because
Yeah, you got screwed
at,
over hard with
yeah,
COVID too, like way
exactly.
harder than I ever did too.
Exactly, and with the economics things, so we I I reached to one point that I have to decide, and um, at that point for was very hard for me because I was doing the burnout,
Yeah.
and I was paying my stuff from my pocket, uh, it, and I have and at that time I remember that I sold a couple of things to just keep my staff in,
Yeah.
and just after, and it coincidence with a couple of things like the economic condition
Yeah.
and
It was
those
in
kind of things.
you were in Dubai at that time, right?
No, at that time I was in Iran.
Iran. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I moved the business into Dubai with one of my friends after that.
Right.
So at that time, the things that happened was that uh, a couple of the economic was not in good condition. We experienced very very rough recession. You cannot imagine how hard was that. If I explain for you, for example, you buy a car like 10,000 this year, and the next year you can sell the car 3,000.
That's
Yeah.
a kick in the nuts.
No, yeah, exactly, and
That's more than a kick in the nuts.
yeah, that's most of the people were losing money. So I decided to go to Dubai and open a shop with one of my friends.
Yeah.
So the situation was almost exact the same there, and I after that, after lots of bump into my life, me and my wife decided to came to Canada and we immigrate here.
Yep.
And I remember here was the first job that I followed on Instagram when I was looking into the job in Ottawa,
Yeah.
and I was looking for the job at that time. I remember I came here and talked with you,
Yeah.
and you just saved me what on your phone.
Oh, I saved him as PPF installer guy that's looking for a job.
Yeah,
And that name stayed in my phone for what, like a year and a half?
yeah, exactly.
I think it's still
No,
in.
more. I changed it like 4 months. I changed it like 4 months ago.
Yeah. Anyways, but now because I got a new phone, your
Yeah.
Perea in there.
Yeah,
PH.
thank you. And yeah,
And then at the time,
So-
I knew you came in to originally talk to me at first, and I wasn't ready. Like this was going into a winter, and I wasn't ready to have someone like you.
yes,
It like you came out of nowhere, so I was very like I was just like thrown off, you know.
yes,
And anyways, yeah, continue.
yeah. So I keep continuing and go to the other shops, and I have been working almost a year for them. And since then, I just keep my eyes into this location because, I was very excited about you yourself, the cars that you have been working, and the environment of the Pitstop boys. When I see you on Instagram when you are talking, you are a real man.
Thank
Yeah, and I really like that. It's one of my honor. Yeah,
It's like we're all authentic here.
yeah,
I see that in
Yeah.
all you guys too.
yeah. Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
And yeah, after that, I just decided to come here and try one more time.
It's so
yeah,
true.
exactly. And I just come here and talk with you, and you said yes.
Okay, fine.
let's do that.
I
Yeah.
said, let's fucking do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I didn't.
So-
I said, let's do it. There's gonna be so many beeps in this pit stop
Yeah.
talk. But yeah, no, I remember saying, all right, I can't give this opportunity up again. Like, this is a sign, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So since then, I have been installing PPF, do some designing. Yeah. Lots of things that I really enjoy in Pitstop boys.
Dude, you've done PPF designing. We've like restructured our shop. You know, we've like dialed in so much stuff. We've like think about the carbon fiber parts we install now on all these cars properly, right? With like extra care. And then the PPF also exhausts, right? All these like little things that you've brought to the table that just like kind of like help the team and build the experience to a whole other level, and how much we've all learned from you.
Yeah. Thank you,
You know?
man.
I think we all learn stuff from each other, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's another thing too that's great about Pitstop Boys is like I'm never like we're the best. We're not. We're never the best. We're not close to it. Like, you know, I'm not the best. We all know
Me
that.
too.
We have confidence in ourselves because we know we're good at what we do. But like, it's nice that like, you know, we all kind of hold that card. Like we're like, we know what we're doing. We have confidence, but we're also like down to learn from each other and like, how can we keep making this a better experience for like our clients, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, pretty sweet. Yeah, you've been great. It's an understatement, you know. You've been so good for Pitstop Boys, and like the energy you bring. Like, how many times have you stayed late helping me or any of these guys, like putting parts on their cars or doing whatever? Like, it's just you're just a genuinely nice guy, and you're really freaking talented, and you just somehow landed here at Pitstop Boys. You know,
Thank you, man.
and
Yeah. I'm lucky.
we're fucking
be
lucky
here.
too, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So, I mean, that's been a pretty great pit stop talk. Very emotional.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's like, I don't often talk about like there's a lot more to the story, right? Like,
Yeah,
we just
exactly.
gave you like cliff notes. Like, there's all sorts of crazy stuff that happened in between the time I started until now. But, which is probably why, like, when I'm thinking a certain thing and talking about things, there's a lot of emotions that, like you're like, oh yeah, and it's crazy to see where we started and where we're at today.
And maybe what are our plans for the future, Tristan?
What's our plans for the future?
Yeah.
We could definitely talk about that. Like our plans for the future here at Pitstop Boys is to grow and expand. I think our first goal is to dial in the shop. We're gonna be looking at building our team. We want to get another excuse me, PPF installer. We want to have a full-time tint guy here. We want to get into all these other things. We have the dry ice blasting that we have the machine. We're going to be getting into that. There's so much going on. That's kind of to touch base on what I said. I like to get into so many things. It keeps my engine running. I'm nonstop. But now I'm like, okay, let's dial in what we have. Let's get things sorted out here. And then, we're potentially looking at eventually getting into a standalone location where we have like a nice big parking lot. We have all like this own space where we can have like a fully closed PPF bay, and we can have like, a separate detail section. So that's probably in the plans too. But I say for now, we're focusing on building the team, making sure we're offering the clients the best service possible, expanding all that, and just dialing in everything with you guys. And, and yeah, like ultimately the end goal, like, is we have sweet branding. We could for sure franchise this thing. It just depends on where I want to take it. We're a bit of a specialty shop right now. So I want to kind of dial it in here with the stuff that we're good at, focus on that now, and see where that takes us next year. That's the thing about business. You never know.
Let's open the next shop at Toronto.
In Toronto, we could. There's a lot of cars there, lots of
There's a lot of
competition,
sick cars.
but we could definitely do something cool out there. Montreal would be cool. But yeah, but no, guys, it's been a good talk. We went over a lot of stuff. If you guys have any questions, or if you guys have any stories about, your business and maybe some struggles, or some of the good times, let us know, or hit us up in the comments. This has been a real one with you boys. And yeah, I appreciate you guys more than you can ever imagine. And I can't wait to see what Pitstop Boys has to offer in the future. So thanks for listening. You guys are what makes this all possible for us to do what we love. We're super passionate about it. We're so thankful that you bring your awesome cars here. We said it a million times that it's so cool when you guys come here and let us take pictures, and you guys take us for rides and do all do the burnouts and do all that stuff. It's what we love. It's what fuels us. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Hell yeah, boys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Peace. Wow, that was crazy, boys. Oh, I just feel like I went to therapy.